Hi lovelies, I'm Naomi from Jealous of the Birds and welcome to episode 7 of Jealous of the Bops. In this episode we're going to focus on Miriam Makeba's Pata Pata, which was recorded in 1967, and Adam and the Ants' Prince Charming, which came out in 1981. As always, I've got my coffee. It's the most gorgeous blue sky day here. The sun is out, I'm soaking it in. Let's get stuck into some music. So Miriam Makeba, also known as Mama Africa, was an incredible South African songwriter, activist, and United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. She was born in the early 1930s and lived a pretty astounding life. She endured a childhood that was riddled with hardship. She survived cancer. She began her music career in the 1950s and went on to collaborate with artists like Nina Simone, Harry Belafonte, and Dizzy Gillespie. She married a leader of the Black Panther Party and was a strong advocate against apartheid in South Africa. Basically, she used her music as a vehicle to voice concerns about oppression, about racial inequality and injustice. And not only that, she also embodied so much of the joy and rhythm and depth of African music and really brought that sound to the Western culture at the time. In that sense, she was really keenly aware of the degree to which pop culture could fortify the civil rights movement and vice versa. Miriam sang in numerous different African languages, including Zulu, Xhosa, and Sotho, but she also sang in English. English was seen as a language of political resistance, and at the time, Miriam refused to sing in Afrikaans because that was the language that was used by the apartheid government at the time, and she refused to be associated with it in any way. The first song by Miriam Makeba that I want to share with you is called Hapo Zamani, and it's sang in Xhosa. And despite the very upbeat chord progression and the backing vocalists and the kind of very percussive conga rhythm section, it's actually a song of resistance against apartheid oppression. In the lyrics, the speaker goes into depth about how the white man has made them homeless and drunk and taken their land. And the lyrics end with a kind of strong threat against these oppressors that the African people will rise up against them and take back their land and return to their homes that they've been cast out from. I love everything about this song rhythmically, melodically. Miriam's vocals are incredibly powerful and I never get tired of it. Here is Hapo Zamani by Miriam Makeba.
Mama siku ya hivi yeah, mama hapo zamani mama siku ya hivi yeah, mama sasa hapo zamani mama shauri ya pombe yeah, mama sasa hapo zamani mama shauri ya pombe
So Adam and the Ant were an English new wave band that was formed in the late 1970s and fronted by none other than Adam Ant. They were known for their new romanticism, lots of frilly shirts and very camp energy, post-punk sound, very gaudy stage wear and overtly sexualized performances. They did receive quite a bit of commercial success in the early 80s with singles from this Prince Charming record topping UK charts, and they also won a Brit Award in the early 80s as well. They kind of garnered a cult following during the years that they were active and also afterwards, with many artists from kind of glam rock and industrial music genres drawing inspiration from Adam and the Ants' aesthetic and sound, such as Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. The first song by Adam and the Ant that I want to share with you guys is called Prince Charming. It's the title track of the record, and aside from Stand and Deliver, Prince Charming was probably Adam and the Ants' most well-known song. And despite its fabulously camp music video, with all its new romantic flair, the song itself is actually a pretty serious plea to a friend to really maintain their composure in the face of ridicule for their lifestyle. And instead, they advise them to really courageously be themselves. With all the guttural cries and the very strong rhythm section and the multiple key changes that occur in this song, it's almost like it becomes a kind of war cry or an anthem for individualism and a person's right to embody whatever mode of being that makes them happy. And in this case, it's being a dandy, being a man who is into fashion and how they look and how they present, and maybe not being so hyper masculine, but kind of embracing a more romantic way of being. That could apply to any mode of expression that a person chooses to hang on to, you know, which is why I think the song has a lot of power and conviction in it. So here is Prince Charming by Adam and the Ants. The second song by Miriam Makeba that I want to share with you is called Maria Fulô, and this one's actually sang in Portuguese. It basically tells the tale of the speaker kind of comforting Maria before she embarks on this journey. It opens with the lines, "Goodbye, I'm leaving, honey. Crying does not help anyone." And what's really powerful about this to me is that Miriam was actually, she experienced exile in her lifetime. Her South African passport was cancelled and she was forced to immigrate to the United States in 1960, which was just 7 years before these songs were recorded. So all the emotion and the experience of having to leave your loved ones in your home country and travel to a completely foreign land, not knowing what's going to happen to you, what's going to happen to your family and the people you love, all of that is poured into this song. I love the instrumentation. I love the feeling behind it. I love hearing the language. It's incredibly beautiful to me. So here is Maria Fulô by Miriam Makeba.
Adeus, Maria Fulô, onde o diabo astúrico. Adeus, vou-me embora, meu bem. Chorar não ajuda ninguém. Enxuga o teu pranto de dor, que a seca mal começou. Adeus, vou-me embora, meu bem. Chorar não ajuda ninguém. Enxuga o teu pranto de dor, que a seca mal começou.
The second song by Adam and the Ants that I want to share with you is called Sex. And when you first hear this song in particular, it's not hard to understand how you could make connections between Adam and the Ants and artists like Trent Reznor or Jim Morrison, for example. That guitar picking and the melody of it starts off so harmoniously, but then takes all these weird dissonant turns, so that the music becomes this strange mixture of a very sweet melody with a kind of eeriness, and then the edginess of that very Robert Fripp-esque lead guitar that just cuts through the mix. There's also this very Jim Morrison style spoken word that's really buried in the mix and kind of recurs in the chorus of the song. And it's, "Let all braggers brag, virginity's no crime. Your body should be yours, and sharing it sublime." And even though on the surface that seems like a very positive message about sex, in the context of the rest of the song and the lyrics, you kind of get the sense that Adam's delivering those lines as a double entendre. His whole tone is one of irony and almost mocking. In essence, what he's saying is, you can be as precious or prude about sex as you want, but ultimately Adam's just going to be out there having a good time regardless. The song becomes quite political in the sense that beyond making sure that the sex you have is consensual, there really is no right way to be a sexual human being. And in that way, the song becomes very empowering. So here is Sex by Adam and the Ants.
And tries to make me tired. I'm living every minute and dying every 3